to the What's New presentation with the latest release of Trimble Business Center, TBC, version 5.10. This presentation is going to go over the main messaging and features of the new release, with additional features and enhancements mentioned, as well as some updated slides for TBC resources that are available to you. All right, getting into the main messaging and features of release version 5.10. TBC is the complete survey and construction office software enabling field to finish workflows with confidence. What does that mean? Well, let me explain. What TBC supports is a myriad of workflows for construction and survey professionals, beginning with the ability to work with raw field data. This is working with the measurements themselves, not just a XYZ CSV file, for example, but it's the actual positions of what was shot or measured in the field. This screenshot, for example, shows a split screen view of that raw data measurement with a point cloud and some images associated with an SX10 field collection. TBC also offers world-class adjustment and COGO tools, such as least squares adjustment routines through the network adjustment packages, traverse adjustments working with and editing level data for you as well. The CAD and drafting functionality in TBC enables surveyors and construction folks to feature code from feature definition manager or feature code libraries used in field applications such as Trimble Access, and then taking those prepared drawings, those blocks, those line work into drafting plan set sheets like you see there on the right. A nice functionality of TBC is the ability to quickly compute and create surfaces and volumetric information. And the enhanced ability now to generate and create template and parametrically design-based corridor and roading applications for both roads and tunneling. Functionality also in TBC is the ability to prepare data, kind of the inverse of field to finish, more like finish to field, to take plan sets or PDFs like you see here and prepare that and turn that into a digital model that can be read out into the field into machine control systems, for example. Another very unique feature of TBC is the takeoff and mass haul analysis routines that the takeoff routine has been greatly improved in TBC version 5.10. I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But this is to analyze and detect and measure quantities on a job site. And then a couple of specialty solutions as well. This screenshot shows aerial photogrammetry, data coming from UX11 from Delaire, but also things like working with point clouds and scanning routines and GIS applications. The main message for TBC version 5 is that this latest release strengthens TBC's unique position in the market as the single office software of choice for both surveyors and construction professionals. How we strengthen in version 5.10 is that you can save time and clicks by creating and editing feature libraries and attributes directly within TBC. We've also enabled BIM data into geospatial workflows by exporting georeferenced IFC models for stakeout in Trimble Access field software, for example. And then we've also added a new detect crossing geometry command to inspect your CAD line work, either created in TBC or imported from an industry standard format like a DXF, to assure that you're delivering the highest quality results to your clients. All right, talking about these main features. Couple of points on the feature code library setup. It is now in TBC version 5.10, the ability to view, edit, and create feature code libraries within the software themselves by leveraging the Project Explorer you see there on the left and the properties you see there in the right and the center screenshot. You can copy existing definitions to create new definitions, just like you can in Feature Definition Manager, which is the standalone utility that had come prepackaged with TBC and still comes prepackaged with TBC. Using the right-click context-sensitive interface, you can do your editing or modifications within the property pane to modify things like the styles, the attributes, and more. You can then export what you've done via an FXL, same file format as before, for use in field or across your other users in TBC. Now, if you're used to the legacy workflows within Feature Definition Manager, or FDM, those are still maintained as we still ship TBC version 5.10 with FDM. TBC version 5.10 has improved the support for the IFC file format. We've improved the rendering and the ability to read the properties or the metadata of imported IFC objects. You can georeference those IFC geometry objects using simple CAD commands such as the move or the rotate in TBC. And then TBC 5.10 has added the ability to export existing IFC objects to new IFC files. You can take those IFC files then and use them as background maps or an active map in Trimble Access for reference or stakeout applications, for example. The new Detect Crossing Geometry command allows you to inspect line work in your projects, assuring that break lines will not cross before surface creation or any final deliverable creation. So how this routine works is that it supports CAD line work from TBC or imported, such as from DXFs or DWGs. You can set an optional vertical tolerance. The default is 0, where any line will cross at the XY position. The Z values are flagged then if they're greater than the tolerance. And then this also creates a new flag class called the crossing geometry flag. And from this command and from this information, you can then decide that, oh yeah, those lines are supposed to cross, or oh no, there's a field blunder, or there's something wrong with the drafting of these lines. I need to go back and correct that. So giving you confidence with a very powerful yet simple inspection tool in the Detect Crossing Geometry command. Those three are just some of the highlights of TBC version 5.10. Here's the list of all of the major new features and enhancements that we've added in version 5.10. The three in the bluish text are the three that I've talked about, sort of those main message types of things. But as you can see here, there are many other very useful and value-adding commands in TBC version 5.10. To view all of them and to get further information at a very high level, take a look at our release notes or the README for a complete list. I wanted to highlight some of them here in this presentation. We're really excited to improve on the point feature extraction command for our point cloud routines. We've added the ability now to modify, delete, and add extracted trees prior to creating the points and attributes in the automatic mode. So what you see here in the green is a new validation path that quickly shows the extracted trees that the routine was able to pick up. If this path is distracting or you don't really need it, you can always toggle that path on or off. But it's a nice way to really quickly see what the routine was able to pick up and what we may have missed. In addition, we've added the ability for you to define extraction parameters, such as the height above the ground where to measure the trunk diameter, or the position along the pole of the sign to extract its diameter. And then to give you a little bit of peace of mind, we've added an extraction progress bar in the tree automatic mode. Talked about earlier, a new routine new enhancements to the custom takeoff report. This is not really much of an enhancement, it's more of a complete overhaul. Really did a lot of improvements on this with more concise formatting, with additional information. It includes a screen capture of your current view. And this all leverages a Microsoft Word template to define the formatting, just like you're editing any other Microsoft Word document. And users can modify the template used for the takeoff report to include your company information, logo, desired page or paper size if you need to print this, content, and formatting. There's also a simple single page summary and optional details that can be toggled by you. We've enhanced the MX9 Mobile Mapping support in the Mobile Mapping module. We've added support for the single MX9 hardware system. We have added a new global registration approach to go along with the local approach that had been added in a previous version of TBC. And what this does is that it really enhances the vertical quality at the end of runs. And then you can view how your registration did with a simple registration report export in the mobile mapping export tab in a CSV format. In version 5.10, we've also increased the traceability through the Project Explorer, linking registrations and trajectories to specific runs, making it easier to see those and view those. And then we've also added some new exports to connect your MX9 data to some third-party packages, such as the Topodot export with point clouds and images if you wanted to use or if you are using Topodot for further feature extraction, or the LAS timestamp export, which will allow you to complete registration and extraction in third-party packages such as TerraSolid. Bringing the attributes closer and more prevalent into TBC, as we did with the extract point feature command, is now the ability to add attributes when you creating points within the create point command. So with a feature code entered from a feature code library that's loaded in TBC, you can manually enter attributes within that create point command now. This saves you time when adding attributes to points, and it also promotes further integration of the feature code library within TBC. We've added a new side slope command called create side slope. This will allow you to create cross sections applied to a master line to model complex side slope geometry. If this sounds familiar, like you're creating templates applied to an alignment in our corridor routine, that's good because it uses the same corridor template editor that should breed some sort of familiarity to this new command. And the resulting line work can be added to one or more surfaces. So this is a line work creating command. If you can then build surfaces from that, you can model scenarios much easier that had previously been quite tedious or almost near impossible to model in a quick amount of time, such as levees, curb and gutters, above ground pipes, footers, and more. I've seen some really good work done with retaining walls here as well with near vertical faces. We have made several enhancements to the corridor template editing and the corridor template workflows. The highlight of those are graphical snaps added in the corridor template view and the stored cross-section view. This allows you to measure precisely between those nodes. We've added the slope by depth table instruction. This allows you to create multiple side slopes within one instruction, exponentially decreasing the amount of instruction types needed to create multiple side slopes. You could now, and probably maybe this should deserve its own slide here, but this is a huge time saver. You can now copy and paste instructions between TBC projects to allowing for the reuse of those instructions. So for example, if you had a TBC project that had stored almost like template-like instructions that are commonly used in your roadway modeling, you can take those instructions from one project, select them in the template editor, copy them, and then jump into your other project, your design project, and paste them in using the right-click method here shown in the screenshot. That saves a ton of time, and you're not having to recreate entire templates or recreate templates from scratch every time you're working on roadway designs. There's also a new property in the corridor surface to force brake lines across sections. This improves rendering around vertical brakes, such as retaining walls. Included with your aerial photogrammetry license of TBC version 5.10 is the new UASMaster version 9.1.3. This is recently released and ships with TBC version 5.10. Added the support of DJI XMP data, metadata during the image import. We support now natively the GGF geoid format that TBC makes use of, for example, allowing you to use those geoids within UASMaster. And then we added a new mesh format, the scene layer package for surface generation. There are a slew of other new features added in UASMaster version 9.1.3, and I would encourage you to check out those release notes if you want to learn more and get a better picture of what all was added in that new release. We've improved the scale factor handling for point clouds with the LAS, LAZ file formats. So if you take an LAS or an LAZ file format and dragged it into TBC or imported it into TBC version 5.10, you'll notice that there is a new menu prompting you for a couple of options. These are the ability to tell TBC where this point cloud came from so that we can handle the scale properly. The top option, non-georeferenced ground scale point cloud, is typically for terrestrial data, raw data from a scanner, as the message says. The second option, georeferenced grid scale point cloud, is for typically aerial photogrammetry data that's referenced to a known projection or known coordinate system. And if your situation doesn't fall into one of those two, we've got the advanced user options, which includes the ability to input or compute the point cloud center and known scale factor, or the ability to turn the scaling off, which is how previous versions of TBC imported point clouds. This assures that registered scans are scaled properly when georeferenced or with a coordinate system change. If you deal with multiple sets of point clouds from different sources, this command will be very, very handy to assure that you don't have any scale issues and that everything in your point clouds between those different point clouds matches up and there's not any shifts or scale issues. And for our distribution partners listening to this, we have now added support for virtual warehouse, which doesn't mean a whole lot maybe to our end users, but you know what? It means that our partners can deliver TBC faster to you. If you've got a need for an upgrade or a warranty extension, this really allows us to efficiently deliver that upgrade code to you, reduces your wait time and allows you to start working in TBC much, much quicker. So really excited to introduce Virtual Warehouse for TBC Geospatial. So those are the primary highlights for the new features in TBC version 5.10. I want to get into some resources now, and some of them have been updated here since our last release. Of course, the number one resource for TBC, if you want to learn more, is the TBC webpage. We made the URL for Geospatial very simple, trimble.com/TBC. Here you'll find a couple of very useful resources, such as page for product bulletins and updates, links to all of our resources I'll be talking about here in the next couple of slides, as well as the latest information on Trimble Business Center. The TBC tutorials are a great place to start learning TBC. These are maintained with every new release. We've got a couple of new ones. I think we're up to 30 or so TBC tutorials, and what they are is a PDF with screenshots and instructions walking you step by step through a given workflow. Not only that, we include the sample data from those instructions. So you can have your printed TBC tutorial or yes, TBC tutorial PDF on one screen and TBC in the other, and you can follow along with it. Really a great, excellent learning utility. Second to our tutorials is probably our YouTube channel where you found this video. We've got 30 plus workflow-based playlists, including now 260 and more and counting videos on TBC. Thankfully, they're not always this long. We try to keep them 5 to 8 minutes, let's say, breaking down a specific workflow quickly for you and so could solve or answer your question. We also do monthly TBC Power Hours, linked here. They've begun in August of 2015, and since then, about every last Wednesday of the month, we've done a TBC Power Hour. It is an hour long, 60 minutes, give or take, where we invite an industry professional or internal Trimble expert to take a workflow or take a topic and break it down for you over a course of that hour. And all of these sessions are archived and available on demand for free. We've had some excellent, excellent sessions here over the course of the years. Really encourage you to check these out if you haven't yet. The new sessions, like I said, typically every month, or new sessions are every month, typically the last Wednesday of every month. We've got the TBC Community page for Geospatial. This is an online forum open to the public that hosts your comments and posts your comments. It is monitored by internal Trimble folks that answer your questions. We also like to see a growing number of users answering other users' questions. So building really what it's named for, building a community around TBC. This page also hosts our tip of the week, where we document a tip or a trick or a command demonstrated in a kind of simple blog format, very, very accessible, little something that maybe you didn't know about TBC. There's also a TBC community for construction with more topics and videos and demonstrations related to construction-based workflows like the takeoff reports, corridor modeling, and data prep. A lot of content and documentation posted here as well. A third community page is our macros page. Back in November of 2018 in TBC version 5, we added the ability for you to write and read your own customized TBC macro. This is a little bit, this warranted its own community page, which we've got linked here, where you can ask your own questions, post your own macros for distribution and feedback from other users and our development team, and download sample files and learn about the TBC objects in IronPython scripting language, which is what the macros are written in. Another great resource is the TBC Retrieve platform. They're shown at the URL listed. This is a platform that contains videos and tutorials and learning tiles available on demand for you. It's also interactive, where you'll be able to ask questions and post comments. And in the past, it had been for the civil engineering and construction division for our SciTech channel, but it is now open to all users, Geospatial included, and has done a great job of staying current with TBC functionality, both new and legacy. Great resource here. I'd encourage you to check this out. Another way we can reach you is directly in our TBC news feed, which is on the TBC start page. This comes with up-to-the-minute announcements and webinars and links to tips of the week and all your favorite and needed TBC news. All right, with that, that's a high-level overview of what's new in TBC version 5.10. For more information, check out those resources I mentioned and go to trimble.com/TBC to download version 5.10 today. Thank you.